Hey guys, welcome back to the Subjective Podcast. I'm your host, Donyelle, and today, of course, we have a very special episode. But before we jump back into part two of my episode with my mom, please make sure that you're following the podcast on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, all the things at the Subjective Pod. Subscribe on Substack. Everything's going to be linked below. And if you haven't already, make sure you listen to part one. I definitely recommend starting there first so you can get the full story, all of the context. And then in this half of the conversation, we are going to pick up right where we left off and we're going to go a little bit deeper into what it meant for my mom to grow up while raising kids, some of the challenges that come with that, and some of the lessons that still stick with both of us today. So let's get into the episode. So you said that you felt like quality time was
Yeah, we'll
one.
have to kind of review the other ones too. But I feel like if I'm correct in my thinking of what words of affirmation are, I feel like maybe there was a little bit of that, especially when y'all were younger. Like, oh, that's good, Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, oh, you did a good job on that, or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. I like those types of things, letting you know. That and what are I don't even really know what the other ones
Acts of
are.
service, um,
Mm,
physical touch, and gifts.
I think as kids there was physical. I think physical touch
Mm-hmm.
was one. Like I said, as you got older, I think maybe that decreased.
Mm-hmm.
Kids go through stages of being embarrassed by
Mm-hmm.
their moms and dads wanting kisses and hugs and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So, but yeah, I think mainly quality time and maybe like words of affirmation. I don't even know if that is that considered words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I think quality time is like even now my biggest
Mm-hmm.
love language. And it's been like a thing with not like a thing, but like when me and LJ were getting to know each other because he's very affectionate
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not that affectionate at all. And it's like a active thing I have to work on, but quality time is like my number one. Like when we sit and watch documentaries, like that's literally my
Mm-hmm.
like when LJ calls and he's like, "Oh, what did you guys do today?" And I'm like, "LJ, you know what we
Where
did."
we do, yeah,
Yeah.
like that. I think quality time is my top
Mhm.
um thing, and it's funny because I don't feel like I'm super affectionate. I feel like I have to like be very intentional and work at that. But I like affection.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like, yeah. So, but yeah, I think quality time is my favorite, and I feel like that's the way that I show my love to other people. Like,
Mhm.
I want, and it doesn't have to be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
I
being
like
together.
quality
Yeah.
time. I my second one is acts of service. Like I like when LJ does things that make my life easier, like takes Nova to the bathroom or
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And I feel like though I like to show I like buying people gifts.
Do
Like
you?
I enjoy doing that. But it's not like a thing that is like that's how I feel loved is with a gift. Like I
Right.
like buying people gifts.
And
Yeah.
it's like that's your way of showing love.
Mhm.
So I'm feeling like you said, I think you have like read more about like love languages and stuff like that. So do they have do you have love languages based on the way you show them and the way you like to receive them, or you just have your love?
So
Because I feel like I have different ways that I like to show it.
So you can essentially like your love language, yours is the way that you feel loved and how you like to receive love.
Uh-huh.
But there is how you give love, but the caveat is just because I like to give gifts to show love, that doesn't mean that much to LJ because
Because
that's not
that's
how
not
he
his.
receives love.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it's like a a mix. Like for me, I feel like I like all the love languages. I just put them in order. Like physical touch is like the last one, but I have them in order. But yeah, that part always confuses me because the whole idea though is like if you're not loving someone in their love language, you
Then
could be
it's
doing
not.
all these things and they don't feel loved
Yes.
by
Okay.
that. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's a little interesting concept. Okay, well, moving on from love languages, were there ever moments where you like felt misunderstood by me? Like I wasn't seeing you as a human. I was just seeing you as a mom or like
I don't know about seeing me as a well, it could be.
like did I make you cuz I know times when I did misunderstand you, but I don't know if I made you feel like that.
I think, and it doesn't make me feel any kind. Like I'm not saying that you made me not feel like a human, but we have conversations all the time about you and your personality and how you say things sometimes. And but we've had the discussion how I know how to, if you say something and I'm like, okay, I'm obviously not going to, like you said, change what she's thinking and what I'm thinking. So I just kind of let it go. And then after a few minutes or whatever, we just move on.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think
don't
you're so
really.
good at that. I think that's why it almost baffles me, like when people allow me to get them so riled up because, like, you will literally ignore me. Where it's like, I can't even push it any longer because you just aren't responding to me.
But you have to that. I don't understand though why you were like, I don't understand how people. I have literally, you've been my child for 30 years. So I know you. I know who you are. I know how you express yourself. I don't know, like, completely know how you think, but I know, you know, some of your thought processes, and I just don't, and I know mine. And I'm like, where are we going to get with this? Like, and sometimes I'm like annoyed by the way you say things or by the way that like and I'm thinking, and it's not even like, did you just think of me, mom? It's sometimes I'm like, she's talking to me like I'm not her mom. So it's like, yeah, I'm just like, like whatever.
Well, mom, you are my little friend now.
Yeah, I agree with that,
Like, we're
but
besties,
yeah, I'm still your mom though.
period.
Yeah, but yeah. So I
Okay.
don't really think that there were times that and I could think, like when you were saying, why doesn't she just leave? Like I feel like, but I don't feel like I feel like a lot of people think like that. Yeah, like,
I just think that was when, like, once I became an adult, like, all the grace I had, like, came and I just understood just all the different things that you did or the decisions you made. Like, there's no situation that I'm not like, I know that my mom did the best with what she knew at the time. That's how I feel. But like, as when I was younger and a teenager, I didn't feel like that until I was an adult and I had to do adult things and just live my adult life. Like, that was when I feel like I started to just understand
understand.
everything more.
Well, and this is, I don't mean to, like, but there's things, like when I look back, there's things that like we were just talking about, why, like, you don't understand. There's things that I'm thinking, why did I not do better for my kids? You know what I mean? Like, why
Like
did I
what?
not? Well, like in those instances, like, why did I not remove us from? certain things, or a lot of things, like why didn't I make a better decision on the, I can't think of anything super specific, but like sometimes I'm sitting, I have a lot of time here by myself when I'm like not working and stuff, and I'm just, you just think and reflect, and you're like, why, and I tried to think, okay, I just didn't know, but I like to think that y'all know that I was doing my best at the
Yeah.
time. So
I think, yeah, that's why I say now, like, I'm like, all of the things that you went through and like that you did, they did set an example because there's things that I know now, like, what the way you handled it is not how I would handle it, or if I would, I know, especially I think when it comes to like men in general, like I feel like I know how to look out for red flags. I mean, I'm not always the best at it, but I just feel like I know and I see things, and when I, like, if there's someone, I'm very vocal up front. Like, I'm like, this is exactly what I won't tolerate, and I just want you to know, like, I will literally kill you. So you need to know that if you think that you're gonna try anything, this is what the results are gonna be. So I just want to make that clear up front. But I think it also just, it helps me think of too, like, even like things like who I'm gonna have children with, like that, like stress, that stresses me out, things like that. And so I think, yeah, like, I think it helped a lot. Obviously, in hindsight you think, well, wonder if I could have learned this lesson any other way, but sometimes you can't. So I think it is what it is. Is there anything that or like, was there ever a moment where you were like, oh, I'm doing the best for my kids, but looking back, you are wondering, like, if it felt that way to us?
all the time, like I said, I can't think of anything specific. I feel like especially you, but I feel like y'all have been vocal about like kind of making me feel better about things that I wish I had done differently, like in the past. Like I feel like we've kind of had those, sometimes had those conversations, and it makes you feel better. But yeah, like I was just saying, there's plenty of times where I felt like, yeah, like I just could have been better. And maybe a lot of parents feel that way. Maybe all parents, maybe it doesn't have anything to do with your age, but I really was not, they say you can't really fully be prepared to be a parent, but I really was not. I mean, it's different. Like, I really was not prepared to be a
Yeah.
parent. Like, I really wasn't prepared to be a parent. Um,
I don't know if you ever can prepare. I was actually telling LJ that I was like, I am about to be 31 and I still don't know what are the things that would have to happen or exist for me to be like, okay, I'm ready to be a parent now. Like, because I'm like, when on paper, it's like, oh yeah, I could be a parent now. But in my head, I'm like, keep a human alive is
I
crazy.
yeah, but you could be a parent.
Yeah, I feel
You
like,
keep a dog alive.
yeah, but
I
I
mean,
just,
and not just keep her alive, she's very well taken care of. So I feel like you could do that. But and I agree with that. Like, I don't think you are ever fully prepared, because as many things as there are that are like across the board, there's so many things that are not. Like, each child is different. So not in that sense, but I literally was, yeah, not
was there things that, like, from each kid? So, like, were there things that you did with Donovan, and then like with me, you were like, okay, I'm gonna switch this up or try something different, or like especially from like me and Donovan to Leia, that you were like, okay, I'm gonna remix this and try a different approach.
I don't know if it was where I was like, okay, I'm gonna mix it. Well, you and Donovan were two totally different children. So I feel like it was I had Donovan for 4 years and he was this way, and then you came and you were totally different. So I just felt unprepared all over again. You know what I mean? Like it was like, and then there was such a big gap, with Leia, that I already knew. Like the whole world was different. You know what I mean? Like school, you know, everything was different. So it was like being unprepared all over. I will say, like I've said this to you before, with Leia, I just learned to pick my battles. Like some things that you used to be so stressed about, as far as like things that you thought were a big deal and had to be addressed, they weren't. I feel like I was less. There was less physical discipline with Leia, but I don't think that I planned that either. I think it just that's just the way it ended up. I don't know.
Well, I felt like with Leia, you were experimenting with gentle parenting.
And it could be, and I always say this too, like for you and Donovan, your dad did not live in the home with us for that time, where Leia's dad lived in the home. So I don't know if it almost, like I felt like that was my permission to kind of step back from that role a little more, and kind of like pass the buck. I mean, not, well, yeah, I guess, to allow the dad to do that part. I don't know if that's my thinking, or if that's how that happened. I think that had a good bit to do with it. I
So
think.
you didn't feel more prepared with Leia, being that you had me and you had Donovan. We were completely opposite. So you didn't feel like, okay, well, I have both options. So whatever I get next, I'm
Well,
more
I
prepared
didn't.
for.
Yeah, I'm not saying like when she came, I didn't feel less prepared. But as she started to grow and go through her things, it was different than the two of you. So it was, um, there's some similarities, but I mean, just everything was different. And I don't just mean discipline wise. I just mean like the way things, like the way they do things in school. Like I said, like you all had, for instance, like we got our first desktop computer when y'all were kids.
With dial up.
Where we had that one computer, and you would set it was in the like living room, dining room area, and you sat there and you were on it for your certain time. And now Leia and her dad and I had differences in things. Like she was how like in the fifth grade, or I think, when she got her own cell phone, and it, yeah, like it was just everything was different. Even like textbook wise, like Leia hardly brought textbooks home. Like y'all brought textbooks home, and they started having like school devices. It just was, everything was different. Like yeah, just everything was a lot different.
What was the hardest part about raising me specifically?
It was just I think the hardest thing about raising you was your outspokenness, your personality, your and it was just because it was something that I wasn't used to. It was something that the people around me weren't used to.
No one was.
Yeah.
Like,
Adults.
yeah,
Yeah.
teachers, like, no, they act like they had never seen anything like it. They probably wanted me, they probably thought I should be checked in.
Yeah, they were it was really like they just, it was thought to be this. But I will say, thinking back, it got to be like I feel like people in our family loved you for that. Like they were, they got, first it was like a shock, and it was like, but then I think that got to be the thing. Like they're like, they knew Donyelle was gonna say something, or and it was more. They loved that about you instead of Kim needs to do something about it. It was
Even
more.
to this day, every time I see Uncle Ernie, he is telling a story
Yeah,
about something I
yeah,
did
and
or
he
said when I
loves
was a
it. He
kid.
loves that. I always think about him. He loves that about you. Um, and Aunt Debbie too. I feel like, and Granddaddy won't be. Now that you're older, though, y'all have y'all little go back and forth. But I think that we all learned to embrace that, but it was difficult in the beginning because, like I said, Donovan, I went from like no issues. I was like going to the school quite often.
You would literally think that I was beating kids up at the school the way they
Yeah,
acted.
there was some interesting things. And now I'm thinking back remember when I said there were times when I feel like I could have advocated for you a little better, like the time that you rolled that piece of paper up and hit the teacher with it, like tapped her with it, and they made this huge ordeal, like you could be, that's assault and da 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 and this and that. And I'm like,
And
why didn't I go
yeah.
off on that? You know what I mean? Like I was like, you can't do these things, Danielle. You can't. Or when you said, what did you tell them about blowing?
Well, wait, because first the teacher with the paper, that seriously, I till this day, she better hope I don't see her because I had we were like in the hallway and I was doing Nova, get
I
down.
remember the story vividly. Like you were demonstrating how you.
Because she was yelling at me for doing
Yes.
something else to someone else, but it was not like it was like a friend or
Right.
something, and she was trying to get me in trouble for that, and I was like, "You're seriously gonna
Like
get me
I
in trouble
just
for
did like
this?"
this.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
she made a big deal. But the other one, when, well, that I should have been in trouble for.
Yeah, because that was, and I was
I
like, you cannot say, and now me, I know that you didn't really, you know what I mean? But yeah, but that part, I'm like, I really should have like spoke up more
but
but I
also
was just like I didn't want problem. You know what I mean? It was
yeah.
like,
But there's some things that I'm glad that, like, you know, those parents whose kids are bad as hell and they show up at the school acting a
yes.
fool. Like, I'm glad that you didn't
Yeah, and
do
I
that.
think in my mind I was like, I don't want to be that person that knows that their child is doing bad shit and still up there like carrying on with these teachers like they know like their child is not a problem. Yeah.
Because I remember you used to say, I know the teacher's not lying, Donyelle, because you do the same thing at
At
home.
home. Yeah, and I used to tell Leia that too, because Leia would try to say, they're just or they're just doing that, or she's just saying it, or I did not do that. And I'm like, it would be easier for me to take up for you if I didn't know that that's you. Like you do these things at home. So yeah, that was the hardest
Yeah,
part.
I do be wondering, like, what was God's thought process when he thought, I'm going to give this lady who is unproblematic, literally the opposite. Like, what made him think, or what was his thought process of like, she needs this type of daughter for this
That
reason?
I don't know what the thought process was, but I think that that's what he was like, oh, this one will be perfect. Because they're still to this day, and I don't know if you have figured it out, where these traits come from. Like,
I don't.
there's nobody your dad. You didn't get these traits from your dad. You didn't get those traits from me. You didn't get those traits from, like,
Yeah.
where did those things come
Yeah,
from?
that's what I was saying. Like in that
Because
episode,
you've
it's
been
like,
like that
yeah, like
since
I was
you were little.
born
Yeah.
like that. But I be thinking like, mom and Donovan must have been living a boring life, and God was like, let me add a little,
Razzle
let me
dazzle.
shake things up in here because, yeah, I always I think about that a lot because I'm like, I feel like Leia's personality is more like mine, but it's easy to say, oh, that example was from me. But yeah, I have no
There was
clue.
no clue where it come from, and you were all even the things that were like kids do these things, like even like Donovan just didn't do, and that's what I was thinking. What was God thinking of? He gave me this quiet, meek, mild child for my first child, right? And then boom, it was like you were different. Like you, like the whole, you drew on walls at the house. Like you did, things that
I was
I didn't
artistic.
experience. Yeah, like you just, and those are things kids do, but it was just like Donovan didn't do them. And then I had to like
Why was I drawing on walls?
readjust. I don't know.
Now that's bad as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I get beat for that?
Yeah, probably. Probably
Should.
got a spanking for
Yeah,
that.
should have. But also, I think if I would have been your first child, that would have scared you half to death. You wouldn't have
That's
had
what
no
I'm
more
there. That's what I was
kids.
thinking. But looking back, you really wasn't y'all. But y'all act like y'all weren't bad kids.
Yeah, like we weren't like the kids that it was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna end up in prison.
Yeah, like people be like, "Here she come with them bad."
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, or yeah, like we already know where they're gonna be at 10 years from
yeah.
now. Yeah, y'all weren't those kids. It's just yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into a different topic. So, I wanted to know, do you are there any ways that like you see me living my life now that surprise you? Like does it the way I turned out is that like a surprise based on like, you know, how I was as a kid?
I'm not really, cause you really like as you each year or each whatever. I guess am really in awe. I guess of the way that you just took a hold of your, like your life, your future and stuff. Because it's like you weren't discouraged from like going to school and things like that, but you weren't like as some people like this is what you do. You graduate, you go like it's like you took a hold of that and you didn't need anybody else to encourage you or put you on the path to where you are. It's like you just I feel like you just did it. So it's not it's I wouldn't say I'm surprised. Because I really didn't know I just knew, I felt like you were very argumentative. I felt like you didn't like people, you didn't like to be told what to do or like things like that. So, but kids are like that. So I don't think that I thought, oh, like she's going to end up in prison or anything like that. But I think I guess you could use the word surprise, but in a good way. Like not like I'm surprised like I thought any less of you, but I just think it's just amazing. Like you have your own mind and you just decide you want to do something, you do it. Like you don't need people like nudging you along. You just yeah, like that's it. It's a surprise, but it's in a good way that you just do it. No.
That's interesting because I was thinking about how like I don't remember like anyone, you know how some people like their parents make them, I always knew I was going to college, but like I don't know why, because it wasn't like a, some people it's like, well, everyone in my family goes to college, so
Yeah.
that's what, but like I don't remember a time where I like said, oh, I think I'm gonna go to college. Like I feel like that I just always knew that I was gonna
That
go
you
to
were gonna go
college,
to
and
college.
like I just knew, like I never even thought of a different path,
Path.
like
Because I don't feel like we had I mean, maybe when it got closer to you, like later, maybe those last two, but we didn't have like or at least I don't remember having like conversations about it and like having a plan. It was when you started, with like the HISTA program and stuff like that, that you it started like the pathway to that from my point of view. Like I feel like when people say, "Oh, I know you're proud." I'm proud, but I'm not proud because like I don't feel like I had anything to do with it. You know what I mean? Or with any of, like I feel like you've done it all on your own. So,
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it I always say is just like the friends that I had. Like, my all of my friends were always just smart and good at school, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna be the dumb friend. Like, that's what made me like take school more serious. But I think I I don't know. Like, I just knew I was going to college, and I thought I knew what the path was going to be and what I was going to do until I got to college, and then I liked something else, and then I went in that direction. And then I think after college, like, I had a plan for my life. I knew exactly what I was going to do, and God was like, ha ha ha, girl, you thought it. And so it didn't go the way that my plan was, but it went like I didn't even plan it to go like this. Like what my life is now was not even on my bingo card. I couldn't even like my brain couldn't even comprehend or think of this as my life. So I I don't know. Well, obviously, big God, he literally was like, "Girl, just let me handle this because you're doing too much." But that's all that happened. But is there anything that you have like learned about yourself from watching like me grow and become myself?
well, wait, let's go back real quick.
Oh.
When you were saying you always knew that you wanted to go to college and things like that, and like I said, like we didn't have conversations. I don't remember talking about it. And as a matter of fact, I remember this vividly. I remember we had moved back to West Virginia, um, and we moved from Charlestown to Inwood. So instead of, you didn't want to change schools, remember? So I was driving you um, to Charlestown every day to go to school, and you kept getting in trouble at school. And I basically was like, you got one more time. Like, we're not doing this. Like, I'm not going to keep putting in, the effort and doing this and driving you all the way, to this school for you to be acting up in school. And you ended up having to, yeah, so we left. I took you out of Charlestown School and I put you in school in Inwood at Musselman. And I feel like once you got there, you still were, would get some things, about your mouth and stuff like that. But I saw a different you. So I don't know if your path, you still might have done that, but I always think about that. I don't, because I feel like you did a 360 when
Yeah.
you went.
I just don't know, like, but I'm like, I, because you do say that, and I'm like, I don't remember there being anything specific that, like, happened that, like, made me be like, like, other than having to go to that school. But,
Right.
like, there wasn't anything that happened at that school that was just, like, a
Different.
life changing. There wasn't anything I felt was, like, life changing until I had Mr. Shore as a teacher, and only because he was good at like he believed I could do harder things than what I believed I could do. Like I was in like his regular class and he encouraged me to take honors and then AP, and those were things that I was like, why would I,
Why?
yeah, why
Yeah.
would I do that? So that was like the first time that I knew. And then like once I took his AP classes, then I knew like, oh, because those were essentially supposed to be like college classes, like, oh, okay, like I can. And then when he wrote my letter of recommendation, then I was like, okay, like that was like the thing that was like the big thing. But like I started there in middle school and I don't remember there being like a, maybe it was just like a, I'm just starting
Like
over,
nothing
starting
life changing.
fresh.
Yeah, and like you said too, it could be your environment and then the people that you, because like you were like, all of my friends were like serious about school and took school seriously, and I was like, I'm not gonna be the only, like. So I think, yeah, just not nothing like a boom explosive moment, but just a like a,
Maybe it was all the white people.
well, I don't know.
Maybe I was like, I'm not going to play with all these white people. Because even though we're in West Virginia, like Musselman was very different as far as like the there was way more white people. Like there was a
Oh,
lot less
or
black
yeah.
people at Musselman than there was in
Yeah,
Charlestown.
because I felt like that was why I was like, when you didn't want to change, I was like, yeah, I can see why, because I think it was, and it wasn't anything I experienced, but I think that was just what people thought, is that Inwood is like a kind
Yeah.
of racist and whitewashed, and yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna subject her to that if I don't have to, like, and then, I mean, I feel like I feel like once you did go there, I found out that there was more color there than I thought. So,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but
Yeah, maybe.
yeah. But anyway, what was your?
I was saying, what have you learned about yourself by watching me grow and like become myself?
I don't know if there's anything that I've particularly learned about myself, but I know that there are lessons that I have learned from you. Like typically you think of children learning from their parents, but there's things that I have learned from you, either watching you or sometimes you just tell me things.
Like what?
You, well, just how to not be so nice. But this is one thing that sticks in my mind, is that when you told me this little, I don't know if it's a phrase or just a whatever, how it was like, just because something is the best you ever had doesn't mean it's the best you can get. And that stuck with me a lot. Because yeah, that stuck with me a lot. But yeah, I learn things from you all the time. I take lessons from you. And like I said, not always you telling me, but basically just kind of seeing you and how you do things and how you. Now, there's things that I'm just about you that I'm like, I'm never going to be that person. Even though I envy those things, I just know that I'm not going to be
Yeah, like
that
it's not
person.
you.
Yeah. But, and there's things that like I could wish I could be, and I might not be able to be that, but I can be a little bit of that. Um, like just speaking up for myself more, and you know, taking control of my life. Like this is my life, my stuff. Like being independent. Like I feel like
I think you've always been
yeah, I feel
independent.
like I've been pretty independent most of the time. But just yeah, like I feel like I learned from you.
I learned something recently, more recent from you, that I actually need you to explain because after you told me it, I was trying to explain it to everyone, and I didn't feel like I could. And this was like when it was during the election time, and I think we were coming from somewhere, and I was saying how sometimes I like struggle with my not really my beliefs, but I was saying like there's some things that I believe in because of my faith, but sometimes it contradicts with what I believe like as a woman or being black. And you were talking about how you think of it like with your nursing degrees and how, do you know what I'm talking about? And you
I
said,
remember, so I remember us having this conversation about the like all the political stuff. We were coming back from the wine festival. Um, and I remember our conversation, but you have to elaborate because
so
I don't really.
I was saying like, I don't know from being black, a woman, and like a Christian, which set of beliefs should take the priority. And you were explaining it from the perspective of like your degrees. So how yours is RN and then BSN. And then you said one of that, basically
Like
it
I'm
made me,
always gonna be like you're. So it was kind of. I think you when we were saying like like so I have RN, so that's what I went to school for. I took a test and I passed that, so I got my licensure for that. So that is always gonna. That's
no one can take it away.
yeah, yeah. So well, that's like my diplomas. I went to school. I graduated. So I got a degree in nursing. So that can't be taken away. Now my licensure, that's like I can I can lose that. You know what I mean? And then my certifications, things like that. So that's how they tell you like to put your letters behind your name. Like so that's why I'm RN and then BSN and then CHNP. So yeah, because you're RN, you're always gonna be because you got your degree in that. So you were saying
And
like
so it
black.
made, yeah, it made me, like was telling all my friends like this is how you have to think of it. Like for me, the way I put it in order is like I'm always gonna be black. And I struggle with that one because I'm like, yeah, but I'm always going to be a woman too. But then I thought from the scientific perspective of like in today's age, you can technically change that. So that's second for me. And then third was more of my faith because that could change
Could
or
change
that is more of a
or certain
choice.
belief. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
like but
yes.
like being black is not a choice. You can't take it away. And it helped me like figure out the spectrum of my beliefs, and especially when it comes to things of like, you know, how people say, oh, they're Christian so they don't believe in abortions,
Abortion,
or
right?
if they say, I don't know, whatever it is. But for me, the things that I care about politically first always have to do with black people. That's my main priority. And then women, and then the things that maybe have to do with my faith. Because when I look at it the other way around, I'm like, most of my faith would support being or
The
doing
other.
things that have to do with these other two categories. But yeah, I had been trying to explain it to my friends, and I was like, I know what I'm trying to say, but I couldn't remember the letters. So that's something that you've taught me recently. But man, I cannot believe we've been talking for so long. Do you feel like we like truly know each other now? Like as mom and daughter?
I like to think so, and I know you were like jokingly just now like saying you're my little best friend or what did you just say? You're a little friend. But yeah, like I truly consider you a friend. Like, and not just, I don't know if it's because you're my daughter. Like, I feel like if you weren't, and maybe it is because you're my daughter, but I feel like the person that you are would be a person I would want to be friends with, even if you weren't my
Really?
daughter. Yeah.
Even with like my
Your
outspokenness?
mouthiness.
Yeah.
I think, well, I don't know. Maybe because I've gotten to know, like, maybe I don't know. Like, I guess we'd have to get past the initial meeting part because I never had to like meet you as the woman you are. But yeah, I feel like every part, like, I like hanging with you. I like your style. Like I like you as a person.
Yeah, I think that's always interesting because when I was like in college and stuff, one thing that I always remember, like when I would officially meet new people, which I know you don't like me to cuss, but this is what people said, is like they thought I was gonna be a bitch before they knew me, and then once they like actually meet me and like and then they're almost like surprised because of what. And I don't know if it's just from maybe they seen like an interaction of me, because I'm like, because I've even seen like one time me and Michael just recently, like we were he had came to Charlotte and we were with people who they kind of knew me but not as much as he did, and they were just meeting him, and they were seeing us interact and almost looked like thought we were being mean to each other. And then I had to say like no, like it's fine, like we are
That's
actually
us.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if other people seen interactions like that and thought, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be friends with her. But a lot of people had said that to me, but they also, when I would ask them like, oh, why'd you think that, they wouldn't be able to like tell me what made them think that.
And sometimes I just think people are put off by people who say what they mean or say what they think. And I don't necessarily think that that should be the case. Like I feel like that's a plus. Like it's a plus. I feel like you, but I feel like that's something you have to get to understand about a person. I always say that about Andrea that I used to work with, how I was a little put off at first, and then as I got to know her, I'm like, that's just a part of her, and I accept it. I accept that as a part of her.
Yeah. And but I think I'm understanding of it because if I meet someone who, like, for example, Chad, when I first met him, I was like, what in the actual world? Because I had never met really anyone that was like, I had never met my match essentially. And I don't think he had either. And so when I first met him, I was like, this man is actually crazy.
This ain't
And then
gonna
as
work.
we, as I got to know him, then I liked him and stuff. So I get where it could be. And even like, remember when I worked at the newspaper and I had that coworker Rob, and we both didn't like each other, and then like we got, because he was kind of the same way too, but he was also like an old man, and I was like, yeah, no, this is so. I get where people.
Yeah, I think you can either understand it and embrace it, or you don't. Like, but you have to have the chance to get all the puzzle pieces, I guess, because that's just one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also realized too, like most of the people that I'm the closest with are the opposite of me. Like I don't know if it would work if we both were the same way. Um, okay, I only have a couple more questions. So I want to know, do you ever wonder like how I would have turned out if I had like a different version of you, or like if you, for example, like how Leia got you at 30 in your 30s. Like, do you ever think about that? Really?
I've thought about that before. Maybe not in exactly the way you worded it, but I sometimes I think about when you say different version, just if I had like been more strict or restrictive, as like try to suppress those parts of you that people thought weren't so savory,
Yeah.
like because there are parents who like there are kids who are raised and they don't say anything. They don't say if they're, it's like if nobody's saying anything to you, or if adults are talking, you don't say nothing. You don't, and that's how certain generations thought that it was supposed to be. So I do sometimes think that even though there were times when I would kind of like hush you, it wasn't like restrictive as like where like you like where you were totally suppressed and afraid to
Yeah.
be
You
yourself.
were you
Yeah.
really were not like that at all. Cause even not just with that, I just think of even stuff like that I did that was not strange, but just like things that, for example, like when I was a cheerleader and I would be in the middle of the grocery store aisles practicing the cheers, and like you wouldn't say, stop
This
doing
is
that.
not the place
Yeah,
for,
like
yeah.
you would just let, or even when, again, like there's some things that I'm like, oh, that probably people thought it was strange that I had this full on baby ensemble as if I was someone's mother in the grocery cart where people think it's a real baby. And like, you didn't say, we ain't got time to be taking that
You're
baby
not,
today.
yeah.
Like, none
You
of
would
that.
pack it up like it was like we ain't leaving without her. And yeah, I mean, so yeah, maybe I don't think I thought about it as like me as like 35-year-old Kim as opposed to 21-year-old Kim, but I've thought about if I tried a different approach to, yeah,
I wonder if it would
I've
have
thought about
worked.
that before. I don't know. I guess if I was harsh enough, it could have, but
I think it, I don't know because I think it's like like, I don't know what would have needed because it's like I also know there's like the way I am with you is not how I am with my dad, and I just know that that's not going to work, and I can't be that version of myself. And like when I know that I don't like to be around people that I feel
that
like
you
I
have to
have to
be
like.
different
Yeah,
around.
I don't like that at all. So I just know like who those people are or what the limits are or whatever, but then I also just try not to be around
You
them
don't
as
put
much.
yourself in those situations as
Yeah,
often.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like a thing of like a ease people into it thing cuz even like I think about it at work a lot of like how I just say things and I feel like probably in the beginning people were probably like what did she just say? And then now, like, it's always funny now where I see, like, my coworkers will try to use my phrases or things, especially the ones that are from Europe and they really wouldn't use those terms in Europe at all and things like that. And so it gets interesting, you know? All right, Mom. So, last question. If you could go back and mother me all over again from birth until I don't know, I went to college. Knowing everything that you know now, what, if anything, would you have done or would you do differently?
I think, even though I think there's plenty of things that I probably could have done differently, I think those are just natural parts of parenting. But the one thing that I absolutely would change is just the things that you were exposed to in your own home.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
And that referring back to the background information. Like, yeah.
Well, we're going to do another episode for like domestic violence awareness month, which you're finding that out now, but we'll talk more about that. But I
But yeah, I
think,
think that's the only thing. Because the other things, I think, even though they weren't necessarily perfectly done, I think they're just a part of parent, like the natural process of parenting and learning as you go. But yeah, that thing I think is the one thing that I would definitely have not exposed you to or protected you from.
well, I think you did a good job, and I don't think any other mother could have raised me. So there you go. Look at that. That's an accomplishment, I would say.
Okay.
Well, Mom, since the cameras are about to die, we've been talking for 121 minutes, and it is 9:56, and I know that you're hungry, and I'm hungry too. So, thank you for finally coming on the podcast. And do you want me to leave your socials in the description so people can follow you?
No.
No?
The people that follow me currently are just fine.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for watching. I don't have time to give my usual spiel at the end, but if you've been watching, you know that everything will be in the description. So, I think that's it. Okay, bye.